Alright guys, now it's the time where when we create the skin. So let's select our Howser here, and let's select all of the faces, U, and unwrap minimum stretch. Now that we have with the mouth seamed, where is the inside of the mouth? Okay, let's check what happened, why I didn't unwrap correctly. Let's see. Where is our seam? Okay, let's check the seam. Let's check the seam. We didn't mark any seam. This is why I didn't unwrap it. So let's select this edge. Around here is good. Around here, sorry. The connection between them, it doesn't really matter because we will paint this the same color. Right click and mark seam, and now we can definitely unwrap this. So select everything, U, and unwrap minimum stretch. Great. Now let's see where is the inside of the mouth. Is this? You can do better than that. You can slice it in half, but it really depends on you. I'm not gonna do that now. Let's align all of these UVs real quick so we can make the skin, the texture. So what I like to do is to scale down. Is it individual regions? Let's just scale down everything and put it aside, okay? Make sure that when you're scaling up or down, you do it all together and not separately, because then you will get different results in terms of the texture. We'll see what I mean in a moment. Let's now select only the head and the body and put it right here at the corner, at the top. And let's now select everything right here and place it right here at the bottom. Okay, so we will place, I think we'll place it this way. You can GX if you want it to move to the side. And now we will select everything right here at the top. You can select with L, okay? And we will move it a bit down, like this, okay? Then we will move this a bit, GX. This will select, okay, LL, GX. This will move, GX. And now we will move everything a little bit to the like this, okay? And we need to scale this up. So let's move the head and the body. We'll place let's do the head. Let's put it here. The body we can place in here. So let's select this one, RY90. Okay, same goes with the head. Let's select it, RY90. Let's now select both of them and scale up. Okay, but we're not gonna scale up like this. We're gonna scale individually. So first, GX, let's place it approximately on the line here of the grid. Okay, roughly at the middle. And we'll do the same with the face. Okay, with the head, we'll place it right here, approximately in the middle of the grid, as you can see. And then we will select both of them, and we will select individual regions for the pivot, right here, individual regions, and scale up, okay? I like to scale it approximately like this, and the head, of course, a bit more, because it needs to carry most of the details. Most of everything we see here will be covered in what? In clothes, right? Let's scale it up a bit and move it somewhere like this, and just ensure that none of the UVs are intersecting with the other one. So we can separate the hands as an example, place it right here, okay, and we will unify. We'll place this in here, we'll place this in here, and then we will select all of them with L, as we've learned, and we will align them like this. Okay, now we can push this a bit aside. The inside of the mouth, let's put it next to the mouth, right here, next to the head, maybe right here. And then we can move the feet, GX. We can place this right here in the middle. Okay, rotate it a bit. This we can move a bit like that, and we are great. Okay, now we can finally do the skin. We have everything aligned. let's quickly go through the UVs and ensure that the UVs are placed correctly. Okay, we can always relax if we don't get good result with texture. And here we can GG to slide. Okay, this we can GG to slide, and this GG to slide. All right. Okay, great. Great, so now let's do the texture. Alright guys, so now we can do the skin after we UV unwrapped. As we can see, we got the seams, we got the UV, it's all well aligned. What we can do now is we can work on the skin to give it a bit more details. And what we can do is let's expand this, click here in the base color and get a noise texture, place it right here. Click here and get a color ramp, place it right here. Let's drag this a bit to the side, click here and drag, get a mixed color, place it right here, click here and Control T. Now we can select everything SY0 to scale it, to move it up a bit. Then we can Shift D to duplicate, place it right here, and we can Shift D to duplicate and place it right here. Okay, and okay, then we can select all of these and Shift D to duplicate. Let's separate the noise texture with Alt, put it aside, connect the vector to vector, then we can click and drag and get ourselves a Voronoi texture. Place it right here and connect it into distance. Let's switch from generated to UV in all of them. You can move it with Control. Okay, and now we can place the masks in between. We need to create the masks, so let's create some images. Shift A and let's create an image texture, new. Let's make it 4K. Okay, so typically this is what you get by default. You can make it ×4 or you can type 4096. Then we can call it our skin lips 1. Okay, our skin lips 1. Let's say new image. Okay, and then we can add another image, get the name from here and say instead of lips, this can be skin. Our skin mask. We didn't add the mask. We need to add here mask. Okay, and the same in here, we need to add here mask. Okay, and this is 1 and this is 1. And the last mask that we're going to add is for the pores. So our skin, our pores mask. Okay, you can do better with the naming, but you're gonna understand what I'm explaining. That's the most important thing here. Let's get the lips mask, the image, and place it between the first node structure to the second. Let's move it down so we won't be confused. And we can even give it a frame. Okay, let's just quickly duplicate the color ramp and place it like this so it will be comfortable to work with. And we will get our pores and we'll place it underneath the second structure. Okay, so the first structure is the color based. So we will select all of these, F to give it a frame, node label, and we will call it our, let's call it skin base. Okay, 1. And we will do, this is going to be our lips. So we will select all of this. This actually needs to be at the bottom because this is going to be the lips. So we will select all of these, F, skin lips. Okay, and lastly we have this, the pores. So select all of these, F and skin pores. Okay, now we can start creating textures and we will start mixing them. So let's save our mask first. We have lips mask 1 and Where is it? Coarse mask 1. Let's go to the UV editing and find skin mask 1. We have many masks. So let's copy the name. Copy the name. Go to here. Paste the name and select it. Then we're going to go to image, save as, and we will give it a new folder. Our skin material. Okay, and we will save. We'll take the other mask, our skin mask, and we will also save. And now we do the same with the lips. Lips mask 1. Did we save it? We already saved it. Let's save. And lastly, we have the pores. Alright, great. So let's go back to the layout. Let's now paint the first mask, which is for the lips. We can move the color ramp aside and we will focus on the skin base and we will mix it with the lips and the skin lips. So we already have the reference of the color. We don't, okay, let's put it right here. So we will work with this type of skin and we will click here and drag to get the RGB. And then we can review the skin. We will adjust it a bit. Okay, something like that I think is good. We can click and drag to get it. And we will now paint the mask for the lips. So let's create on our lips mask. Okay, Control Shift to connect it to the viewer, to the output. And now we can go to the texture, paint, and paint. Now, typically it would be this by default, I believe, but I like to work with the airbrush. Okay, now you can paint, but because we're painting a different color, what we need to do is we need to mix this with something else. So how do we mix? As you can see, we have here the color. We can change from color to mix, and then connect the color to the vector. Okay, this is extremely important, guys, otherwise this is not gonna work for you. Okay, let's disconnect this one and delete. We have to connect it the exact same way, otherwise this is not gonna work. So we have the vector controlled by black and white, included a color ramp, and we have the skin lips. So right now we can disconnect the noise, we will use it in a bit, and we will just change the white into something a bit, not like the skin, a bit reddish, like this. Okay, and then we can scroll down. This can be the same. Okay, maybe a bit more red, but don't go crazy on it, because what we will change here is, instead of mix, to multiply. Okay, now when we go to the material preview, we need to connect the BSDF into the surface, and now we can paint directly on the model. This is still black and white, it's fine. Let's also get the color from here. Click on the eyedropper, get it from here. Click on the eyedropper and get it from here. In here we can make it just a bit more red. I think this is great. And let's increase a little bit the scale, so this will have an impact. Okay, now we can quickly Control Shift to see what we're doing with the skin. Okay, we can see this reddish tint. We can use the handles. Okay, you can see that it increases, but we don't want it to be this dominant, and we want it to be in a lower we want to lower the strength on that. So we can click and drag the color ramp and add here a map range and place it right here. Now let's increase. I think 500 is good. Let's go 0.5 with this, and now we can review this on the material. Okay, we can adjust with the handles how much of the redness we want on the skin. Okay, it's a bit too red. Let's increase a little bit this one. Okay, you can, of course, you can play with it, but I think I'm gonna make it just a bit more, lighter, like this. Okay, and we can also connect it into a bump if you want. Control Shift, and you can review it with the viewer. It's a bit difficult to work with this type of color, so we will recreate the color ramp to review, but we will switch back to these colors. So don't worry, we're now just working on the mask. So Control Shift to connect this to the viewer. Now we can see it a bit better, and we can play with the parameters. So let's the details, we can add some details. Roughness, we can add some roughness. Linearity, we can, or whatever you say it, we can increase a little bit holding Shift. And the distortion, super gently. You don't want to go crazy on it, just a little bit. Okay, now let's switch to the colors. So disconnect this with Alt and switch back to here. Control Shift to connect it to the viewer. Let's bring this back to 1. Let's review it in real time. Okay, let's go 0.75. Let's see. And let's connect here a bump. Okay, and connect it to the height. Connect the normal to normal. 0.5 is good. Then we can connect the BSDF and see it in real time. Great. Okay, not so great. Okay, we can reduce this. Let's go 0.25. Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot better. All right. And okay, let's now paint the lips. So how do we paint the lips? We're not actually painting the lips. What we're doing is painting black and white. But because we are multiplying this structure, we will get a different color. I'll show you. So let's select the mesh. Let's go back to the texture paint. What are we reviewing? Okay, great, texture paint, and okay. So texture paint and material preview. Now, when we will paint, we get this. Why do we get this? Let's go back to the layout. This is the vector. It's connected and it's on multiply. Okay. Let's not use color. Let's use vector. There we go. And now we can paint. Okay, let's see if we can change the color over there. So we'll paint. Okay, just a little bit like this. Okay, maybe we can smear a bit. Okay, and we will correct it in a moment. So let's go to the layout. Let's drag this handle here and this handle here. And now we can change the colors. So from here, let's change to something. Okay, great. Now we can set the color that we want. Let's see, we are multiplying the base color by the black color. Why is it black? Right. The noise texture needs to be on the vector, not the color. And we need to flip the color ramp needs to be after the noise texture and not the other way around. So let's disconnect, place it here, move this to here, and move this to here. And now we get this, which is great. So the problem with this structure is, as you can see, it's a bit, we need to smooth the transition. So we can do this. We can control the transition from here, from the color ramp, as much as we can. I wouldn't do it too sharp, but I wouldn't do it like this either. So it needs to be something in between, like this. This is controlled by the black and the white, right? You can try other multipliers. You can go mix and see what works better for you. I like multiply. Okay, and then we can change from here to the color that we want. I think it might be a bit too much, so we can maybe change it to something less, red, maybe this much. Okay, this we can do the same, take it from here, and then it will be less red. Okay, let's compare real quick. So this is the skin, this is the lips. Okay, because potentially the lips needs to be a bit darker than the skin. Okay, let's leave it like this, and in here we need to find a good color for the lips. Okay, so right now let's focus only on the color ramp. And make it a bit darker. Okay, and then we can slide this a bit. Okay, this seems good. Okay, I just don't want it to be too pink, but I also don't want it to be too dark. So something like that. Now let's work on the mask itself. So let's go to texture paint. We need to review it. So let's go back to the layout. Let's Control Shift on the mask. Okay, and let's just smooth it a bit. So go back to the texture paint, and in here it's a bit difficult to see, but in here we can just smear it a bit down, make it the shape to make it a bit better. Okay, don't worry, we will fix all of that in the UV editing. Okay, great. Now let's expand here. Let's find our the mask. Okay, and then we can just smooth. Okay, our smearing, but we need to blur. Okay, not smooth, blur, whatever you like to call it. We'll just blur here. Okay, and also the corners, and in here. Okay, great. All right, so this is great. We also need to do another part, is the inside of the mouth, right? Because it also needs to have the same color. So let's go to the layout. We need to do this while we are looking at the texture. So this needs to be around here. This is what we need to paint. And let's find it in a texture right here. Where is our, let's connect it here. Great. Go to the texture paint and find our UVs. Okay, so now it looks much better. We can also add some, some other parts of the skin, the same texture. So let's connect it. Let's add a little bit of reddish right here. We can Control Tab and texture paint right here. We don't have to go to the texture paint. And right here we can go 0.15 and just a little bit of reddish tint right here. Also here around the nose. If you have secondary color black, you can also paint it in black to delete. Okay, if you want to maintain some of the parts, I think this much is good. And we can also smooth. Okay, you can review it in if you shift select the color ramp, you can review it. I'm gonna leave it like this. I think it looks good. And we also need to, in order to render this, we need to save. So let's also save. Let's go to the UV editing, and then our lips. Where is it? Lips. One. This. Yeah. Okay, you can see with the white. And we can also add it to the inside of the mouth, of course. So let's go. We are now in UV editing. Let's go to the image editor. In the image editor, we're not going to see the UV. Okay, so our lips mask, we can click here and click save. Great. Now we can review it also in render mode. Of course, we can expand the mask. In this case, we see that the mask is a little bit too small. So what can we do? We can Control Shift and then Control Tab, go to the texture paint and just stretch it a bit to look a little bit better. So let's connect the BSDF and select the mask because this is what we need to paint. Control Tab and let's gently smear. Okay, do it gently so you won't break the texture. Okay, great. All right, now we can really save. So you can select it and Control S to save. Yes, now it will save. You can see it right here that it will save. Okay, it's without a star. And we can carry on to the pores. So how do we do the pores? For this, we are using Voronoi. So we can Control Shift to review the Voronoi. Okay, the color ramp right here. Okay, and we can increase the scale. Let's increase the scale. Let's go 500. Okay, we get those tiny dots. And we can also increase or decrease the black and white with the handles. I think this much is good. Maybe a bit less, like this. Okay, and to make it just a bit sharper, we can add another color and we can drag. Okay, just like this, we can drag. Okay, I think it's good. Now, to apply this on top of the skin, because this is not going to be colors, we're not going to, I just want to show you how this looks like, right? So let's get a mix color just to review this with the color, but this will be used as a bump, okay, as a normal map. So how do we apply this into here? We will again mix, okay? So this needs to connect into here, and this needs to connect into the BSDF, okay? This goes to B, because the pores needs to be on top, and this goes to A. So we connect it to the base color and then we connect it to the base color. Okay, this also needs to be controlled with a mask. So the mask is right here. Okay, it will be the same thing. We will also use, no, we don't want to mix it. Careful so it doesn't mix. Let's connect it back to A. And now we can work on the pores and we can bake it all together. So let's first do the pores and then we can connect it. So we will use the same exact idea what we did the black and white. We will use it to determine where we want the pores to be and where not. So how can we do this? Just select the mask again. Let's add a color ramp. This time we'll place it after the mask. So connect the color to the color ramp and Control Shift to connect the mask to the viewer. Okay, so let's go again to texture paint and let's paint. We're not painting, we are brushing. Okay, so this part we might need to do it while we see the color. So we would rather the skin pores, we would rather connect it from here and we will Control Shift on the bump. Okay, but we need to select the mask. Now when we paint, it will only show the pores where we paint. Okay, so let's go to the texture paint and let's paint. So where we paint, we get pores. Where we don't paint, what do we get? Nothing. We get this type of skin. Let's check. Everything is connected. This is connected. Okay. This one is not connected to the factor. We need to, the same way, connect it to the factor. Okay, and we don't need this many kind of things. We just need the black and white, and we need it to be like this. Okay, so let's turn it off. There we go. And now where we paint, we are gonna get the force. So 1 to see the front. Let's pay. This is way too much. 0.15 is good. Let's slide this a bit. Let's see. We have symmetry. Yeah, we can use symmetry. You don't have to, of course, but I'm using symmetry because why not? Let's go 0.05 and just brush. Okay, do it very gently. If your secondary color is black, you can also go control and paint it in black. So it's like you're erasing the mask, you know. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going like this a bit, and then I'm gonna smooth. Okay, so holding shift you can smooth. So just increase and smooth. Okay, so you can brush across all these things that you don't want to see, just smooth a bit. Okay, great. Let's smooth it here. And smooth around here. Yep, great. Now let's see that everything is combined like we wanted. Here we can smooth. There we go. Just want to cover that nothing is going to be sharp. Okay, and in here we don't really need force, so holding control, we can paint black and we can erase what we don't want where we don't want the force to be, and we can also smooth, right? So smooth. Okay, so less around the eye, but you can go crazy with it. Of course, I'm just showing you the technique. You don't have to do it the exact same way as I do, but I like to have less around the eyes. So I think this should suffice. Let's just smooth here. And we are great. All right, let's go to the layout. Let's connect it to the BSDF. Okay, great. Okay, it's a bit too intense, so we can decrease it. Let's go. Let's do something else. Let's create a bump for this and a bump for the. Okay, so duplicate the bump, and then we have the bump for this. Let's connect to here. Okay, sorry, this one, let's connect it here, and let's also connect it to here. Okay, but in here we're only gonna have this. So okay, so we can see that it's a bit too intense, but that's fine. We can obviously control the normal from the normal map. We're not bothered by that right now. Now we can bake the skin, so we can rig the character and start deforming without any issues. Of course, the same exact way that I painted the mask for the lips, you can use it for the rest of the body, create your own type of skin, but I'm just showing you the technique for you to get started with the idea. Now, how do we bake it? The exact same way we baked until now. Let's create some images. So Shift A and create an image texture. Let's call it our skin diffuse 1. Okay, place it right here. Let's create another one, also 4K, but instead of diffuse, what this is going to be? The normal, right? So we have one for diffuse and one for normal. Now, let's connect it to the emission. The color goes into the emission, and the normals is connected to normals. In emission, we're gonna go 1, then we will go right here to the render, scroll down, and find in the bake section, it's on normal. Okay, let's leave it on normal. And before we do anything, let's save the masks that Alright, so before we actually bake, let's go to the UV editing and save the mask that we've made. So this is not the lips, it's the pores. Let's click here and click save. Okay, now we can bake. So let's click here on the normal, click on the person, and click on bake. Okay, great. Sometimes it takes a bit time because we baked into 4K texture. Let's go to the UV editing and ensure everything is okay. Great, we have the mask, we have the lips, perfect. Now what we can do, let's go to the layout. Let's also bake the emission, click here on normal, click on emission. Let's select the diffuse. Let's expand the emission and give it 1 to be fully emitted and connect the color into the emission like we did until now, and this goes into the diffuse. Remember, we're not baking into a plane, we're baking specifically into Howser. So select him, select the diffuse, make sure you're connected to the emission, and hit bake. Alright, that's perfect. Let's ensure everything is looking nice. So we have our skin, how did we call it? We called it diffuse 1. Let's copy and paste the name. Great. So we have everything perfect. We have the color here. We have this part. Great. But I want to make a little bit of improvement. This is the inner part of the mouth, and this is the lips. And I do want to be able to have it in red, right? Because this is the inside of the mouth. So we'll click in here, we'll go to the mask, the lips mask 1, this one, and we will paint right here at the white area, okay, very gently. So we'll change from UV editor to the image editor, and in here we'll change from view to paint, and we will only paint inside of the white parts, okay? So do it very gently, careful not to go outside. If you're not sure what you're doing, you can duplicate the picture, and if you messed it up, you can try it again. Okay, great. So we also need to do with the inside of the mouth. Let's find it. Okay, where is our character? Let's select character and select faces. Okay, and now we can paint the inside of the mouth as well. Okay, obviously it needs to be red like the lips, the rest of the lips. Okay, now let's go back to we can save. We have to save. We click here and save. Now let's go to the layout. This time let's bake the emission when we already covered the inside of the mouth and the inside of the lips. Now, okay, we have it selected, we are connected. Let's click on bake. Great, so everything looks perfect. Let's just quickly save. Okay, so you can see that now everything is red, right? And in here, also in here, inside of the mouth, everything is red. So in here, click on save. Let's save it, save the diffuse. Let's find our normal, how did we call it? Let's find our normal one, right? How did we call it? Copy. Okay, great. this save. Okay, but we're not gonna save it like this. Instead, what we're gonna do is we're gonna click here and we will go to non-color and save as image. Now it's a color, it's ready to be connected to a normal map. Okay, and not to the strength, to the color. And we can move this a little bit down or away. This we can move a bit to here. Then we can connect this, we don't need right here. We can connect the diffuse to diffuse. The normal map we can create into normal. Then we can control a little bit of the normal so it won't be so intense. We can render this, still have the emission, let's disconnect it. And we can reduce this maybe to 0.5, it's good. You can of course go lower than that, but I like it like this. Okay, let's check. It's a bit too intense, maybe let's make it 2.5. Yeah, but you get the idea. You have here the normal map and you can control the skin and you can control the pores and you can control everything. All right, let's turn on back the rest of the stuff so we will see how it looks like. So we have the gloves, the necklace, the pants, the beard. Okay, great. These we created new ones. Great. All right, perfect. Where is our eye that we've made? This and the curves. Before we rig it, I'm quickly just gonna apply the material on the tongue and the gums. Okay, let's say our gums. The teeth can stay white. I'm not really bothered by that, but we do need to take care of the, the gums. So we can just take what we had here from the lips and do the gums instead. Okay, let's go to here, paste it, and we can put this. This needs to be a bit more pinkish. This can go red. Of course, you guys are welcome to choose your own colors, but I'm doing it roughly from what I think. Let's again go 500 and Control Shift to see the what we're doing. Let's connect it also to bump, and this bump, is it with emission? No. Okay. Let's connect it into the normal and the strength to the height. Now we have this. Great. And we can maybe reduce a little bit so it won't be so sharp. I think this is good. Okay, let's review the color real quick. Great, invert it. Great, okay. So we can also apply this to the tongue. The teeth, right? So we need to apply this only to the gums, not the teeth. Let's also duplicate this, our gums, to our teeth. Okay. Now on the object itself, we need to have two materials because we have the gums and teeth, and we will link this into here. So in here, we're gonna choose also the teeth, our teeth, and the teeth, instead of being pink, they can go a bit yellowish like this and white. Okay, something like that. This is nice. Okay, but without the bump. We don't need a bump. Okay, maybe a bit whiter. Okay, now let's select the gums with L and let's apply. Here is our teeth. It's the same material. We need to duplicate it. Let's duplicate it. Okay, now we have two different materials, and this one we can call gums. Okay, we already have our gums. There we go. Okay, so we have our gums and we have our teeth. Okay, to separate it, we can go into edit mode. With L, select only the gums. It's fine, it has the gums. Let's switch to the teeth and let's Control I to reverse the selection. Now assign to assign it only on the teeth. Shift select the bottom. Let's select the bottom gums and then shift select the upper gums and then link materials. And in here the same thing. Let's select the gums, select the teeth material, Control I to invert. And this is a bit different, so let's just select the teeth with L, just L, select all of the teeth. Okay, we don't need the seam, we can select normal, and then we will give them our teeth. Okay, great. And the tongue, does it have the material? What the hell is this? This is the previous tongue. It's fine, we can move it back to the collection because I want us to work with our tongue. Okay, and hide it. In our tongue we will shift select it, shift select the gums, link the material. On the tongue we don't need the teeth. On the tongue let's cancel the teeth. Let's increase the roughness, let's decrease the roughness to 0 and do the same in the link from the gums. Okay. Great. Now let's review. Great. Okay. Now let's rig it. So we have Mr. Howser here. Okay, we need to bake it. Let's quickly bake it. Of course, you can skip this part if you don't want to, guys. You already know how to bake it. This is the fuse. 2 parts is good, and 2 K is good. Let's also teeth. Normal. Okay, great. We will set the emission here to 1 and connect the color to the emission. Then go to render and select our fuse. Do we have the gums? Okay, great. So to bake it only on the gums, we need to separate it from the teeth. So P to separate by selection. Okay, now we will only bake it into the gums. So we select the gums, do the fuse and hit bake. We need to cancel the obviously we need to cancel the teeth before we do this, and now we can hit bake again and bake only this color. Great. Now we can carry on to the teeth. So let's select the teeth again, and now let's select the gums that we separated and Control J to join. Now that we need the normals also. Let's quickly do the normals. Select the normals and the normal into normal and fuse into the base color. Great. And we can review. The emission is still there. We don't need the emission anymore. We can delete it. Set it to 0, and great. We are done with texturing the gums. So now we can finally rig it. After we done this, so it seems like we're done with the model, guys. All we have to do now is just to create a skeleton, rig it, and do some animations. So we'll take a quick break and I'll see you very soon.